Welcome back everybody. So this is gonna be a quick update video for you guys on stock market, and before we get started, please smash that like button, and 100 plus likes on this video would be greatly appreciated guys. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now if you want to get my daily trade ideas, swing trade ideas, live trading, and you want to support the channel, definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. Alright, so heads up for next week. What's coming next week? First of all, on Tuesday, we do have Jay Powell speaking at 10:30 a.m. And then on Wednesday, that is when you're going to see this market making a big move. We do have CPI coming out 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, and that's going to be a market moving event because now, if this one is also hot, guess what, guys? You're going to see that dump off. And there are some more things here in this market, some red flags, and I want to show you guys that as well, and I'm going to show you guys here in this video. So what's happening behind the scenes, and a lot of people are extremely bullish, and I get that, the price action is definitely bullish, it's going up, but what's happening behind the scenes? Well, we got to look at that, right? HYG, high yield bond, smart money here on bottom, and then we got SPY ETF, dumb money on top, and you can see they're actually selling into this big rally to the upside, and they're selling out right here. So whenever you see something like this right here, that is a red flag, and things can actually pull back early as next week, and we do have catalyst for that, and that is that CPI, guys. So watch out for that. We could see that pullback immediately next week with that CPI because market has nowhere to go, but at least pull back 1.5% to 2%, and that is possible next week with that CPI. Dow is up 0.32%, Nasdaq going absolutely flat on the day, S&P also pretty much flat on the day, only up 0.16%, and look at Russell here, taking a dump off, down on the day 0.75%. And here's 11 sectors that makes up S&P 500, and what we got here on top: consumer defensive, technology, financial, basic materials, industrials, healthcare, and then utilities finally coming off, real estate, communication services, energy, and consumer cyclical. Now, here's another thing right here, guys. Week to date performance right here for last week. Guess who's leading? Utilities. So risk off move here in the market, and then financial, industrials, basic materials, consumer defensive, real estate, energy, healthcare, and look at technology. It's all the way down here on bottom. So that is a red flag going into next week. Utilities, it was actually leading the way this week up until Friday, where technology actually went up right here, and it's pretty much on the top only for one day. So what we got here on stock market map, again, Amazon going down today 1%, Tesla taking a beating down 2%, Meta staying flat on the day, Google going down 0.75%, Apple down 0.82%, we got Microsoft going up 0.59%, and Nvidia again going green on the day 1.27%, and this thing actually gapped up and then gave away some of the gains, but still another green day on Nvidia stock. JPM also going up 0.64%, and you can see energy sector pretty much doing nothing today, kind of a flat day right here on energy. And even healthcare, it's not down that much, but it's just sitting and going sideways today, nothing big on healthcare. We do have big names like Costco going up and hitting a fresh new all-time high today, so that is something to watch next week on consumer defensive. Walmart also staying flat on the day, and some of the other names are also green, but nothing big except Costco going up, and this thing is a monster. Now, another fresh new all-time high. We just barely got a pullback, and now this thing is right back up, and hitting a fresh new all-time high. So watch out, this stock, we might see some sort of a pullback early as next week. It's getting far too overextended to the upside. So let's get started with weekly time frame on SPY ETF, and what we got here as a weekly bar, definitely a green body bar right here, and pretty much closing at the high of the week and closing above a critical level, which is 520. Now from here, guys, can we afford a pullback before hitting another all-time high? Well, definitely possible, and with that CPI, that can actually happen next week. Now where can things actually pull back? Definitely down to, I would say, Now a critical level below 520 will be 517, and then right down here, this weekly gap, 512.55 right here, and that is also a weekly support, 512 on SPY ETF. Now, on this daily time frame, things are getting a bit frothy. And how? Look at this. Upper Bollinger Band sitting at 522, and SPY ETF was actually trading above 522 today. Came back and now holding 520. So can we see a pullback? Well, definitely. I mean, look at these two gaps. I'm not even talking about this one down here at 506, but we can definitely get a pullback down to 512, and that is going to be this gap down here, which is going to be a buying opportunity if we get that pullback next week. Now, don't just think that it's going to pull back here. We definitely need that confirmation. And how we get that? Well, first of all, it needs to get under 520. It needs to take out 518.38 on daily time frame, rising 5 SMA right here on this daily time frame, this blue line, and then 517. And once we get under 517, guys, that is when that's going to be the confirmation that yes, things are looking like it's going to pull back down to this gap, 512.55. So watch out for that. Now, if this thing gets a pullback, let's say down to 517, 518, and that is holding, well then, you cannot short this market. Things will bounce from 517, 518. Watch those, time frame like 5 minute and 15 and see if that is actually holding right here, 517 to 518, rising 5 SMA on this daily time frame. In that case, if it's holding, guess what? You're going to see at least a retest of previous all-time highs, 524 to 525, and possibly even 530. So that is the scenario that I see next week, but definitely that all depends on that CPI data, which is coming out on Wednesday. And on top of that, we do have Jay Powell speaking on Tuesday, guys. So watch out for that next week. And here's my X account, and if you guys are on there, definitely give me a follow. And there is no subscription, nothing here on X. Is totally free, and I do share lots of information on X, and you can always ask me a question if you have right here on X. And here's some fantastic plays. First one, Roblox. They actually had earnings recently, and look at this. Yesterday, which was Thursday, guys, picked up at 700 shares. And same day, this thing exploded, almost got up to 32. Even today, on Friday, it was up to 32 bucks. Took profit and left some runners, and those are still running and green. Now, here's another one, guys, right here. Mara. And you can see this one here got into $20 puts at 21 almost right here, and now today down to 17, sold out completely, and this was also a big winner. So all these trade ideas, and especially if you want to support the channel and you're serious about trading, then definitely check out their link down below in the description for Patreon. And I'm telling you guys are missing out on lots of money. On Triple Q, it's up 0.24%, so it was actually struggling right here at 440, 441. And finally, if you look at my screen, from this downtrend right here, broke out of this downtrend and now into closing, holding above 440 right here. So that is bullish in the short term, but look at the upside. Upper Bollinger Band sitting at 445.87, so I would say 446. So this thing can possibly push another maybe $5-6, and that is it for now. Definitely we need some sort of a pullback, a higher low at some point, and I think we can get that early as next week. Now, as I say higher low and a pullback, well, don't just think that there's gonna be a crash. There's this guy always making crash videos. I'm not talking about no crash, guys. These are just based on technicals and what the technicals are saying. I'm not talking about no, big crash, 30% crash, nothing like that. But definitely, when I said just a couple weeks ago when market was down here, you can go back and watch that video. What I said, guys, that don't short this, please. And guess what? If you actually shorted right here, now you got destroyed. Shorting the market when things were actually going oversold. And now the same thing applies on top. do not go long here anymore. New money long, there is no opportunities for you unless there is a pullback, unless you're chasing at the top. And possibly, if you're chasing this, you'll end up holding a big bag, right? So when things are pulling back, did call it right here that don't short this. And now I'm telling you guys that this is not the time to go long. At least we need a decent pullback. And where can things pull back on triple Q? Definitely 440 needs to give up. And then we will see a drop down to at least this gap. And that is going to be a strong support, 436. So your line in the sand below 440, 436, and then 432, 430, 20 SMA, and then this gap, 427.81. But as long as things can hold above 440, then watch out for continuation all the way up to 446 and possibly even retest of previous all-time highs just below 450. On Dow Jones ETF DIA, it's up 0.30%, so this thing exploded. And you can see actually closing above upper Bollinger Band, which is sitting at 394.59, and the ETF itself trading at 395 plus. So are we going to see a pullback? Well, definitely, and I was not expecting this, guys. And that is why, yes, technicals are there, but they don't guarantee us any money. I was not expecting DIA to do this today, pushing and getting above upper Bollinger Band to close this gap. I thought maybe next week, but this thing did it today, closing this gap at 395 and going above and beyond all the way up to almost 396, and now holding this gap as a support, 395. So that is just insane how this market can switch and just from oversold, and now we're getting pretty much overbought, way outside the Bollinger Band right here on DIA. So for next week, 395, that's gonna be a key level to watch. Below that, 391.37, 390, 388, and then all the way down here 384, and then this gap 382.91 on DIA. But if things can push, then the next step will be retesting this previous all-time high, and that is just below 400. On IWM, it's down 0.75%. So if you look at my screen, IWM, if we shorted today, which I did by myself, not sharing with anyone, I had to make some money today, guys. This week was really bad because the moves were like really small. It's hard to make money when market is not moving and it's just going sideways. It's really hard to make money when market is sideways and you cannot buy anything, you cannot short anything, right? So this thing right here, right at opening, short it. And then this thing paid today over 130% in puts from opening. And now it's trading at 204 and trading above this support right here, 50 SMA, 202.44. So for next week, we still have this gap down here. Also, if you look at my screen, things were getting a bit frothy on IWM. It was trading pretty much close to this Bollinger Band. We got a pullback. So for next week, with the CPI, and there is no rate cuts where this thing can rally off of that. Nothing happening, right? But this thing definitely going back up again. So for next week, is this actually a bull trap on IWM? Well, we will find out next week. And how? If this thing breaks below 202.44, takes out this red line right here as a support, immediately you're going to see a drop down to 200 right here to close this gap. And this is going to be your line in the sand whenever we get that. Because IWM needs to hold 200 to 198. Below that, you're going to see a big drop all the way down to 193. Now, if things are looking good, let's say the CPI comes in, really in line or maybe even better than expectation, then yes, we could see a pump. In that case, watch out. The next support, or actually the resistance on top, will be 208. Above 208, this thing can easily go up to 212, and I think that is the expected move for next week. I'll be definitely posting those on my X account, so watch out for that. So the dollar is staying absolutely flat on the day and slightly green. So here on dollar, guys, 105, that's gonna be a key support to watch next week. 105 gives up, then watch out for 104.48. Now, as long as dollar can stay above 105, watch out for the breakout over 5-day moving average, which is sitting at 105.38. Soon as dollar can actually break out of this range and takes out this 5-day moving average 105.38, you're going to see continuation all the way up to possibly 106 and then 106.51 up to this Bollinger Band on top. On VIX, it's down over 1%, so this thing getting absolutely destroyed. And look at this, guys. I mean, pretty much testing these lows that we have seen before, 1235, 1255. And these are the lows where this thing goes down rapidly, and then we can see a big spike to the upside. So that is the concern here for this market. Yes, low VIX is bullish, but you cannot ignore the fact that also from low VIX right here, this thing spikes back up to the upside. So whenever this thing is low, there is a chance that this thing can spike back up, right? If this thing is high, that is when you buy. You don't buy things when this thing is low. Yes, there is low fear out there, but fear and greed index showing that, it's actually fear. And I don't know how that is, guys. I mean, that is just insane. That thing showing that, we're actually in fear phase and not extreme. So I don't know how they calculate that, but that is just wrong. Market actually, there is so much greed here in this market and grinding and going higher where this thing is dumping. I mean, pretty much down to a new low. Below 13 bucks, not even holding 13 today. And now $12.55. So yes, low VIX, that means market is bullish, but also it's concerning that market can pull back anytime because this thing is sitting at pretty much all-time lows. So on VIX, watch out. We get a breakout over 13, things can look, a different way. Now look at this gap on top. We can easily go up to 14.58 right here, up to even 15 bucks. So if that happens, we might get that pullback next week because this thing has nowhere to go, but at least get a bounce, a dead cat bounce up to this gap, possible 14.58. So watch out for that. And definitely I'll be keeping you guys updated next week on Monday night. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching.